Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a theory anymore. In fact, it's confirmed. A secret deal that they've kept under the covers between FEMA and the Social Security Administration has just gotten exposed. And it's been buried deep inside President Trump's latest executive order. Millions of Americans just got an email from Social Security, specifically the SSA, warning of a sudden digital change that's actually coming to their benefits. And most people don't even realize what it really means. But now, thanks to this bombshell action from President Trump, we finally know why. FEMA, which is a $30 billion disaster of bureaucracy, really hasn't just been wasting our money. In fact, FEMA's been quietly coordinating with Social Security systems behind closed doors, hidden under the covers, and funds that are meant for seniors, senior citizens, survivors. They've been secretly, quietly flowing through FEMA's political machine, directed to woke projects, migrant hotels, globalist agendas. You guys heard about what FEMA did, or more or less, I should say, how FEMA ignored certain homes that had certain signs in the Southeast during those previous hurricanes. Does anybody remember that? Certain signs that might have had Trump Vance signs in the front yards. Do you guys remember what happened there? Yeah. So today, guys, we're going to go ahead and uncover a lot that has been going on over the last couple of weeks, including some bombshell information that has just recently come out. If you haven't already, I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much for hitting the like button and for subscribing to the channel. Man, we're so close to 700,000 subscribers, guys. And I just want to thank you so much for helping us get there. The other thing I want to say is today is Sunday, May 11th, 2025. Happy Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there, just drop a quick Happy Mother's Day in the comments down below. Let someone know who hasn't heard today Happy Mother's Day and that they're appreciated. But guys, all of this has changed. President Trump, he fired FEMA's director. He froze billions in corrupt grants. Trump also signed a secret slashing executive order that just cracked this whole thing wide the heck open. And yes, Social Security is at the very center of it. So in today's video, there's a lot we need to talk about. I want to share with you guys the hidden connection between FEMA and your retirement check. What is really behind this mandatory Social Security email update, how President Trump's big, beautiful bill could literally wipe out benefit taxes forever, and why this might actually be your final warning before FEMA and SSA are fully merged or even dismantled. So if you or someone you love collects retirement, SSI, SSDI, maybe you're a veteran beneficiary, or maybe if you've ever been affected by a natural disaster, or if you're sick and tired of your tax money going to everybody but actual Americans, don't go anywhere, guys, because we have a lot to talk about, okay? And just comment down below if you're getting Social Security, and if you happen to receive SSI, or maybe you receive SSDI, just drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Because what you're about to see here, it really proves that this is not just reform, this is revenge. And by the end of today's video, you're going to understand why President Trump's takedown of FEMA might be the single biggest move to save Social Security in history. Now, if you guys appreciate those news updates, definitely just drop a thank you in the comments down below and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's break down this connection that they never wanted you to see. For years, FEMA has operated as a black hole for taxpayer money, supposedly helping Americans recover from natural disasters. But behind the scenes, billions have been quietly funneled into non-essential, politically motivated programs. And that's where the Social Security connection begins. Because according to internal audits and whistleblower accounts, FEMA began reclassifying certain payouts under the social benefit umbrella, allowing them to mask spending that had nothing to do with emergency response. Now, that includes migrant housing, progressive climate equity programs, and even these woke diversity training contracts. And they're all disguised as social relief. So where does Social Security actually come in? Well, several of these FEMA payouts, they were coded under programs that overlap with SSA funding categories, particularly with when they are distributed through these community support initiatives. So what looks like FEMA disaster relief on paper, it might actually be SSA linked financial channels repurposed to serve illegal aliens and pet projects, not actual Americans. Isn't that messed up, guys? And now, thanks to President Trump's latest executive order, we know this coordination wasn't just careless, it was actually strategic. But it gets even deeper. And so here's what the fine print on most Medicare mailers should say. This only shows you a few plans. You might be overpaying. Good luck. And so, guys, this is why Chapter is completely different. In fact, they're not pushing just a few handful of options. Chapter is searching every single plan that's out there to help you compare them and to make sure your doctor is covered. And their service is totally free. Julie from Kansas is already saving $400 a year. Jamie in Texas, $600 back into her Social Security. It's unbelievable. I know. But don't fall for the fine print, guys. Get the full picture, okay? I'm going to leave the contact information for Chapter down below. I want you to hit them up on the web right now. Don't let another day go by. You're probably wasting money. And it's like, some people say, man, I wish I knew about this 5 years ago. How much money would I have saved by now, right? So don't wait, guys. Hit the link in the description down below. You can go to askchapter.org/Ron, or you can give them a phone call. Their phone number is 909-563-8279. Give our friends over at Chapter a call or hit them on the web right now. Now, let's talk about that email, right? Now, if you're on retirement, SSDI, maybe SSI, chances are you got it too. Did you guys get the email? The Social Security Administration just notified millions of Americans that this is not optional. They must update their accounts, especially if they've been created before 2021 September. So guys, this isn't a standard update. SSA is actually forcing users to transition to login.gov. Did you guys know about that? The SSA is forcing users to transition to login.gov or id.me. These are two different government-controlled portals that are now used to verify everything from benefits to identity. The official line is for your safety. But the timing is suspiciously perfect right as Trump exposes FEMA's overlap with SSA and freezes over $100 billion in federal disaster grants. Now, here's what we're hearing from insiders. These digital upgrades aren't just about smoother access. They're laying the groundwork for a federal control network. Did you guys hear that? They're trying to link these Social Security benefits with FEMA, relief tracking systems, these government databases, and potentially even surveillance algorithms. Think about that, guys. Like, why else would FEMA, which is a disaster agency, be involved in systems that touch your retirement benefits? Does that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable? Or maybe it's just me? Let me know that. If you feel a little bit uncomfortable, just say uncomfortable. And more importantly, why now, right? Well, keep watching, guys, because in today's video, I want to share with you guys, or at least what I think, for why President Trump fired the head of the FEMA. I want to share with you guys why I think President Trump fired the head of FEMA on the spot today, and how that particular decision actually cracked open the entire operation. So, basically, what happens when a federal agency ignores orders from the President of the United States? Does anybody know what happens when that happens? What's the next step? Well, they get fired brutally, publicly, and without warning. Does anybody support President Trump's firing of the FEMA head? If you do, type in fired in the description or in the comments down below, guys. If you support Trump firing the head of FEMA, type fired. But yesterday afternoon, President Trump walked the walk, as he usually does. He officially fired FEMA's administrator, Cameron Hamilton, after giving him one very simple ultimatum: reform FEMA or dismantle it. So what did Hamilton do? He didn't do either. He just ignored a direct order. He ignored the mandate. He followed FEMA he allowed FEMA to continue bleeding taxpayer dollars into these politically motivated disaster programs. He just kept pushing these bloated, bureaucracy laden programs while ignoring state level solutions that could have actually helped people. So what did Trump do? What do you think Trump did? He didn't just send some memo. He didn't just send some tweet. He didn't just make some social media post. He had Hamilton escorted out of the building, gone, done. And this wasn't just a personnel change. It was a statement, a very clear signal to every single federal agency out there that if you're not going to put America first, you're going to have to get the freak out. That's basically what the bottom line is. And he literally had the man escorted out the building. But what came next actually even shocked Trump's closest insiders. And that's the crazy part. So immediately after Hamilton's removal, President Trump, he signed a sweeping executive order. Now, this is one that actually froze over $100 billion in FEMA disaster grants overnight. So here's what's inside that order and, more importantly, why it matters to you. Now, first, it bans FEMA funding from being sent to sanctuary cities and illegal alien housing projects. So no more taxpayer-funded hotel rooms for migrants while American citizens sleep in shelters. Second, it redirects FEMA's bloated budget into state-level block grants, meaning basically local governments will now have direct access to those funds without begging DC bureaucrats. Third, the order actually adds new oversight mechanisms that now involve Social Security audits and benefit tracking, kind of revealing just like how intertwined the two systems have become, which I mentioned earlier in the video. But it goes even deeper than that. And that's right, guys. President Trump just ordered a joint audit of FEMA and SSA. That's the Social Security Administration, exposing the financial shell game that's been running for years between disaster funding and the so-called social relief. Comment down below if you believe that politicians have been secretly stealing from Social Security. If you believe that politicians have been secretly stealing from Social Security, and I'm not saying Nancy Pelosi or Jasmine Crockett or, AOC have been doing it, or Chuck Schumer in particular. I'm not naming Adam Schiff. No. But if you think that there are some Democrats or Republicans possibly stealing from Social Security, I mean, maybe it's one side, maybe it's both sides. If you think that Social Security has been taken advantage of by some politicians, I want you to type in stealing Social Security down below if you believe that's actually been happening, because there's a lot of rumors going on saying that, hey, politicians they're secretly taking from the Social Security fund, and that's why they're running out of money faster. So let me know what you think on that, guys, but let that sink in. Now, what FEMA called disaster relief was often coded and hidden through Social Security sub-channels, if you will. They were essentially funding these woke programs. They were, these different climate initiatives and illegal immigration support systems. Well, now that whole pipeline's been cut off. Trump said that's enough. That's enough of that. And so what does and this is why the, largely it's the left. I don't want to blame the left, but it's a lot of members from the left that are getting upset about Elon Musk and the Doge Department of Government Efficiency getting access to Social Security data. Because if Doge can get access to the Social Security data, then they can see how much fraud and abuse and shell game activity is taking place, and then that kind of ends that game, and it saves Social Security. But those who are benefiting from stealing Social Security funds, well, the party's over for them. So of course they're upset. But what does this actually mean for you, for the average American trying to collect your Social Security benefits or disaster aid during a crisis? Well, of course, we're going to have to uncover exactly how FEMA and SSA have collaborated together in ways you've never been told, and more importantly, how that corruption could be the real reason behind Social Security's looming trust fund crisis. Now, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're asking yourself, I'm tired of living this way. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. I want my money to work for me. and I want to turn my life around financially. I don't want to continue to live down the way that we've been living, right? How do I break free from this rat race? How do I exit this paycheck to paycheck cycle constantly, right? Where there's so much more month left and being out of money, that kind of thing, right? If you're saying to yourself, hey, I make good money. Why am I always broke, right? Well, I've left a link in the description down below. It is literally a program that I put together, how to escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle. I'll leave a link for you guys in the description down below this video, maybe in a pinned comment, but stop living paycheck to paycheck. Hit the link in the description down below and completely change your family tree. Now, by now, you probably realize, FEMA's broken. The system's broken. But what you might not know yet is exactly how deep this rot goes and how it's infected Social Security from the inside. Now, let's kind of rewind just a few months, shall we? Former FEMA Chief Financial Officer Mary Kamen was fired after it was basically discovered that she funneled millions of FEMA dollars into luxury hotel rooms for illegal aliens in New York City. Fired. Okay. That money was supposed to be helping disaster victims rebuild their lives, but instead it padded the contracts for migrant housing and boutique lodging. But here's where it connects to you. Investigators recently uncovered that some of the diverted FEMA funds were processed through social benefit portals. In plain English, they use Social Security adjacent systems to hide the spending. By classifying hotel stays as temporary social aid, FEMA bypassed all sorts of oversight and they used the SSA infrastructure to move the money. Some people call it, money laundering, fraud, but this wasn't a one-off. FEMA has a track record of withholding aid from certain red states, flooding blue states with resources. In Hurricane Milton, whistleblowers revealed that FEMA workers deliberately skipped homes with Trump signs in front of them, ignoring desperate families while sending resources to politically favorable zones. Now, just imagine that. Imagine that same behavior, but inside the Social Security system. What happens when FEMA's bias becomes a part of your retirement benefits? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Trump supporters, people who have Trump signs in front of their houses or JD Vance signs in front of their houses suddenly not getting their Social Security checks? Right? Like, is that fair, guys? Like, who gets help? Who gets left behind in those cases? Guys, the overlap between these two agencies is no accident. This is a symptom of a much bigger issue. And then you probably heard this before. Social Security is going to run out of money by 2033. It's all over the news. It used to scare retirees, right? In fact, it's still used to scare retirees. It's used to push for budget cuts and tax hikes. But what if this so-called trust fund crisis is being exaggerated? Or how about worse? Maybe they're manufacturing this crisis. Well, I want to explain this, okay? So you got the OASI trust fund, right? Anybody heard of the OASI trust fund? Well, it's the one that pays out retirement and survivor benefits. It's projected to be depleted by 2033. Well, if that happens, payments could be slashed by up to 21%. That's the fear narrative. But here's what they're not going to tell you. The trust fund has been drained in part due to these overlapping expenditures, like, with other agencies like FEMA, misclassifying relief programs as Social Security obligations. They're draining the fund. Progressive social equity initiatives, migrant aid, even climate justice programs and payouts have been routed through federal benefit systems, further weakening SSA's financial health. And worst of all, the crisis is now being used to justify new federal integrations linking FEMA and SSA into a unified digital command structure that gives Washington full control over how and when you receive your benefits. So the next time you hear them say, oh, Social Security is running out of money, I want you to ask yourself this. Is it really running out of money? Or are they draining Social Security on purpose to push through some centralized digital control? What do you think on that, guys? Do you think, if you think they're draining Social Security on purpose, drop the comment draining down below. I want to see where you guys stand on that, okay? Now, in the next segment, I want to dig a little bit deeper into how FEMA and SSA might soon merge their digital infrastructure and why Trump is doing it. Yeah, you guys are going to like this one. You guys are going to see what Trump is doing exactly to stop this thing. So think about this, right? Like, if you thought this was about like some misused funds or some political favoritism, think again, guys, because what's happening right now, it's really more like digital control. So earlier this month, the Social Security Administration, they sent millions of Americans this very scary, very chilling notice. Update your account immediately or risk losing access. So they're basically trying to force users to migrate their SSA logins to login.gov or id.me. These are two different government controlled digital ID systems. Now you might ask yourself, well, why now? Like what's the urgency, right? Well, at the same time, Trump is exposing FEMA's misuse of disaster funds through Social Security benefit systems and portals. So the federal government, they're building a centralized platform that can control your access to those benefits altogether. Now imagine this. FEMA, disaster eligibility, Social Security payouts, medical enrollments, tax records, employment verification, voter ID, all tied to one federally controlled login. This isn't just a modernization, guys. This is an infrastructure for total control. This is all a part of their game plan. And we know that this is a part of their game plan. So what do you think that they're trying to do long term? Well, if you've been watching what they've been doing, as quiet as it's been kept, this is a part of a much larger operative. And it's more about building an infrastructure for total control, a centralized mechanism where the federal government can flip a switch and decide who gets paid and who doesn't. And the scariest part, well, FEMA is one of the agencies quietly feeding into this integration. This is exactly what President Trump was warning us about. And in his latest executive order, he didn't just freeze FEMA's fund. He stopped the integration and announced plans to dismantle FEMA's digital authority over benefit systems. And so now this is where we arrive at the core of President Trump's plan here. It's rather brilliant, actually, if you think about it. Here's what most Americans don't realize. The federal government isn't just bloated, it's weaponized. That's why President Trump is launching a massive decentralization plan, and FEMA is just the first domino to fall. So let me go ahead and break it down for you. President Trump wants to eliminate FEMA as we know it. He said it plainly. And some people are against Trump. Some people are mad at Trump. People are already trying to impeach Trump as we have this conversation right now. And drop a quick comment down below. Let me know what state you're watching this from, because certain states have been passed over by FEMA. And let me know if you agree that FEMA should be eliminated. Just let me know real quick. But this isn't just speculation. We've heard President Trump order the agency to either reform or be dismantled. He said this multiple times. They failed, so the dismantling has already begun. Instead of federal disaster control, states are going to basically receive block grants, billions of dollars in direct aid with no federal strings attached. Local governments, they're going to have the power to respond fast without begging Washington. Basically, he's pushing the big, beautiful bill. This is a sweeping legislation package that ends taxes on Social Security, tips, overtime, putting all sorts of money directly back into the hands of working class Americans and retirees. I think most people can get behind that. Now, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, but I think most people would like to see more money come back in their pockets, right? Can I get an amen for that? And most importantly, he's exposing how federal agencies like FEMA and SSA, being merged behind closed doors. They're bypassing Congress. They're, the transparency and the American people. And this isn't just a fight over bureaucracy. This is about who controls your life savings, who controls your retirement, who controls how fast your family gets help when disaster strikes. And President Trump's making it very clear that power belongs to the states and to you, the American people. So I definitely want to show you exactly what happens next, like why this FEMA SSA breakup will impact your benefits, your online access, and what you must do right now to avoid being locked out or delayed. So definitely, guys, tap the like button, share this video, get ready, because what I'm about to share with you guys might be the most important piece of information you've heard yet. Now the question is this, right? Like, what does all this really mean for you, right? The person receiving Social Security, Medicare, or disaster relief, right? Well, let's go ahead and break it down. So first, if you haven't already updated your Social Security account to the new login.gov or the ID.me system, your access could be delayed or even denied. Do you really understand what this means? I'm sure many of you do, but some people won't realize it until it happens. And this is especially urgent if you created your SSA account before September 2021. The system is being rebuilt in real time, guys. If you miss the update, you could be locked out when benefits start getting redirected to the new platform. And second, be ready for a shift in who delivers your aid. So while, with FEMA being dismantled and President Trump pushing block grants to the states, your governor may soon be the one managing the disaster assistance and possibly even benefit distribution. So this means faster help during emergencies, no more FEMA red tape, state level control of the funding, more tailored solutions. But also, if your state isn't ready, you could experience temporary confusion, delay, disruption. But third, if President Trump's big, beautiful bill goes through, expect tax-free Social Security for millions of retirees. Imagine getting up to 20% more in your check simply by cutting out the IRS middleman. Imagine eliminating, if you were to get 20% more in your check by eliminating the IRS middleman, that would be like the equivalent of getting a 20% COLA adjustment. You see where I'm going with this, right? This is bold, this is disruptive, and it's exactly what Trump promised to do in 2024. Drain the swamp, return power back to the people, and put America first. But none of this is going to happen if we don't stay informed and act. So here's what you need to do right now. Step one, you want to go to ssa.gov and check your account status. If your login was created before September 2021, update it today. It's not optional. You want to do it to keep being able to access your benefits in 2025 and even beyond that. Be sure to share this video with friends and family and anyone who's on Social Security, Medicare, or in a FEMA prone area. They have a right. You need to know your rights, guys. They have a right that this FEMA SSA pipeline has been exposed. They have a right to know that this is going on here, right? So make sure to share this video with someone who needs to know about this disruption and that a massive realignment of power is already underway. And of course, stay tuned for updates on President Trump's big, beautiful bill, executive orders, state-by-state rollouts of this new decentralized relief model. I'm going to be covering every step of it right here in this channel, guys, because make no mistake, this confirmed secret deal between FEMA and Social Security, it's not just history now, okay? It's literally the blueprint of what President Trump is tearing down and rebuilding in its place. So drop me a comment down below. Do you think dismantling FEMA was the right move by President Trump? Are you ready to take control of your benefits at the state level? Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give our friends over at Chapter a call. Tell them Ron told you to call. And hey, if you're over 65, if your parents are over 65, if your grandparents are over 65, make the call for them. Just say, hey, can you save my mom? Can you save my grandmother? any kind of money on Medicare, because dude, can you imagine calling your mom and saying, hey mom, hey grandpa, hey grandma, I was able to save you $700 a year, $1,000 a year. What do you think that they would say to you if you could make that happen? Anyway, I'll leave a link for chapter down below. You can go to askchapter.org/Ron, or you can, give them a phone call. They are They are super nice. They are super friendly, and it's a totally free service. So literally 5 minutes could save you $1,100. Who knows? Anyway, guys, I appreciate the support. You guys are amazing. Stay sharp, stay free, stay ready. We'll see you on the next one.